Chapter 17, moving on to something new, creating what are called amortization schedules. This is these are things related to loans, right? So, an amortization schedule will show the number of periods. Typically, this is the number. It is the number of payments that would be made. Here, we're going to calculate the amount of the overall payment, the interest that's part of that payment, the principal, meaning the amount that's actually coming off the loan amount, and then we'll calculate the balance as well, right? So that the bottom of that it'll be zero, right? So periods is always just, and this is the simple part of this, right? It's just the number of payments times the number of years, right? So this is a mortgage, right? So on a house, loan payments, this is over 30 years, which is kind of the typical period for mortgages. And then we've got monthly payments, right? So 12 times 30, you could do that over here in Excel. I'm going to tell you it's 360. Let me show you something else here real quick, right? Neither you nor I want to type in 1 through 360 right here, right? But if I can get the first two in here, Excel can see the pattern of what's going on. I'm going to click and drag through both of those, and now I just let go. Now I'm going to come over here to the bottom right hand corner of that, and I am going to go through, it's easy to go too far, I'm going to go through 360, right there, and it's going to fill them all in for me, right? We're like, sweet, I didn't have to do that on my own, right? So just scroll them back up. Right, so each one of these, the payment, the I payment, or the interest payment, and then the principal payment, these are the actual formulas you're going to use, right? And then we'll do the calculation on this. So payment equals PMT, right? That's exactly what it is, okay? So the rate is going to be the interest rate, and we're going to have to put dollar signs around pretty much all this stuff, right, as we do this. Excuse me. So, that's not quite true, but I'll show you. So, payment. So the rate, and what we need is the period rate, the monthly rate, right, which is the interest rate divided by the number of payments per year, right? And I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to put dollar signs around this. I can type those dollar signs in, or if I get myself in front of this, I can push F4, right, up at the top of the keyboard, right? You've got F1, F2, F3, F4, right? Those function keys. If I push F4 right now, it'll automatically put dollar signs around both, okay? All right, whoops. Let me try that again because I had that highlighted. I want that one. F4. Now I can do my comma. Now I want the number of periods, overall number of periods. Okay, and so that's going to be this 30, right? The loan payments times payments per year, right? So the 360, which I got. F4 on that as well to get me to stay in that cell, times B4, right? Again, F4 on the keyboard. Okay, now I want the present value of the loan, right, in this situation, right? So we're going to use the one value we have left up here, right, and that's the mortgage amount. Okay, and I want that to stay there as well. I'm going to close my parenthesis. You don't have to worry about the future value or the type on that one. That's all we need, right? And so these are all going to come out as negative numbers, right? These are payments we have to make, right? And that's how that'll work. Now, the interest payment, the principal payment the formulas are exactly the same, except we're going to use IPMT and PPMT, and they will be similar to this, but they will also include the period, and that's the one place where we don't want the dollar signs, right? Because as we go down, I want that to change, right? So it's just the way Excel does it. So IPMT. Whoops, equal sign helps. and typing it in correctly also helps. Wow, P. Okay, one more try. There we go. IPMT. I got my, so I'm going to do the rate again, right? So I want the interest rate divided by the number of payments per year. Okay, so I've got that. Now I want the period, right? That's why I call this period instead of payment or whatever, just so we can all remember, right? So I'm just going to click on that, right? A8, that's all I need. Again, I don't need dollar signs around that one. Number of periods, right? This F4 times the number of payments per year, F4, comma, and then I need the value of the loan, right? That one, F4 to get the dollar signs around that one. Close that, and there's my interest payment. The principal payment, again, the formula, all of this, right, where we're multiplying and dividing and putting stuff in, right, all of that is identical to what we did for the interest payment. It just needs to be the equal PP, having problems today for some reason, PPMT, right? So again, my rate, right, that divided by the number of payments per year, my period, the number of periods that we've got for this, and then the value of the loan. Okay, please notice that if I add these two together, I get that number. That should be true. Okay, and just to verify it, equals this plus this, right? 2643.01. Yep. Okay. Finally, I want to have a running total, right, of my balances. Okay. So I start out, the original value of my loan is $427,000. Now here's the tricky bit, right? These are all negative numbers, right? And this value, the balance, it has to go down. So I'm going to have to add this negative number, and I want the principal number. Okay? So now, instead of $427,000, I owe $426,598.74. Right? So now I can take this. I'm not going to do this here yet. Okay? I'm going to drag these down all the way to the 360. Okay? Oh, this is a perfect example of what I want to show. Right? Please note all these hashtags or number signs in there. All that means is that these numbers are too wide for the cell. Right? I can double click in between there. There they are. Right? It's not some error. It's just that it's too big for the cell. Okay? Now that I've got this balance here, okay, this becomes my previous balance plus my new principal amount, right? The next principal payment, this one, right? And notice it's down to $426,195. Now I can drag this all the way down. And at the bottom of that is going to be 0, right? Okay, it means we did it right. Right? It means that after 360 payments, the balance of my loan is 0. So here's what I want to show you too at the bottom of this. I'm going to add these up. I want to see how much I've actually paid in all of this. Right? On this $427,000 loan, I've paid $951,000. Right? And I can do this for these other two. Yep, once again, columns aren't wide enough. Right? I paid $427,000 in principal. That was the loan amount, and I've paid interest of $525,000. Right? Rounding up just slightly. Right? So this is another way of looking at it. Say, okay, my house was worth $427,000. I paid almost $1 million, right, to pay it off because I paid so much interest. For some, right, I don't have $427,000 laying around to just buy a house, right? Most of us don't. I mean, some do, right? But just understanding the role that interest plays on this kind of stuff. What's interesting is if you can make extra principal payments on this, how much you can save, right? And that's a lesson for another time. Sheet number 2, you're going to do the same thing as you did here, but you're going to make up these numbers, right? You're not going to make them up. I give them to you, right? But you're going to create this here because the second sheet that I'm giving you is blank, right? In this case, you've got a 5-year loan on a $45,000 vehicle. There's your interest rates. We're going to assume, I didn't say this in here, but this is a 5-year loan. We're making monthly payments, right? So you've got 5 years, 12 monthly payments over the course of the year. So you're going to have 60 periods, right? 5 times 12 is 60. Here we had 360, right? This one's for a car, so it's going to look different. But you're going to create this based on the numbers I gave you there, and then you're going to create all this, but with 60 periods instead of 360. Here's a website you can use to look at some of this where somebody puts something together. But you're going to start with, under number 2, putting the above arguments together. Right, that's where the rubber kind of hits the road there. All right.